Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to answer a question that I've had from so many of my patients over the years that I've been practicing functional medicine. And that question is, what is the best diet for my fatigue? For many patients, this is a really difficult question because as consumers in the age of the internet, we are bombarded with so much information. And people come into me having tried the South Beach diet, the keto diet, the paleo diet, the prologue diet, the intermittent fasting diet, but yet still people don't feel well. Over the course of this video, what I want to do is offer to you a way of looking at diet which is less of a diet and more of a practice. Because when I think that when we can convert the way that we are consuming foods into a practice, I feel that we can begin to turn the corner and really get people feeling better. My name is Scott Resnick. I'm a physician and I'm making these videos to enable you to take charge of your health. And I'm giving you in these videos the tools and the tips and the techniques you'll need to really make some changes in your health. So what do I recommend in terms of developing a practice when it comes to eating to turn around fatigue? The first thing that I recommend of all my patients is to consider the actual macronutrients that we're taking and when we consume them. If you recall, the macronutrients are proteins and carbohydrates and fats. So let me explain why this is important. For people that have diets that are higher in simple carbohydrates, what happens is we see that their energy or their blood glucose over the course of the day kind of goes like this. So in other words, we eat a big bolus of sugar or carbohydrates, our blood sugar goes up, but then we get a really rapid spike of our insulin as well. And what that does is it clears our body's blood sugar. So throughout the day, people are faced probably every couple hours with pretty significant drops in their blood sugar. And if all you're doing is using simple carbohydrates to try to replenish that, you're simply chasing your tail. Conversely, for foods that have a similar amount of calories, namely those that are high in proteins and in fats, what we see is a flattening or a more consistent delivery of that energy to the body over the course of the day. And in many of my patients, what I recommend is that they incorporate some carbs into their diet. I mean, I think carbs are important for us because they activate and they work so quickly. But in the background, I'm recommending that people also maintain an ongoing higher intake of proteins and fats. Maybe it's a handful of nuts a couple times in the morning. Maybe it's a half a yogurt in the mid-morning. Maybe it's a nibble of some beef jerky. I'll let you decide on what you want to do. But this is one of the parts of the practice, which is thinking about the macromolecules that we're taking into our diet and when we're taking them into our diet, because we don't want to give our body a chance to be hypoglycemic. The main reason is that our body's response to hypoglycemia or low blood sugar is to spike our cortisol. And so many people that are struggling with fatigue do have adrenal and cortisol issues. The next thing that I recommend to my patients is to do a survey in which you could be deficient in some of your micronutrients. Now, micronutrients are things like minerals and vitamins and phytonutrients, which are the beneficial chemicals that are found in plants. There are a number of clinical conditions that are associated with low vitamin levels that are actually very, very important. One of the most common things that I see are vegetarians who are deficient in vitamin B12, B6, B9, and in iron. Many people who are using either statin drugs to lower cholesterol or blood pressure medications find themselves deficient in magnesium, zinc, and oftentimes iron. Women who have heavy cycles can be pretty significant in their iron levels, and iron is one of the most important minerals that we have in our body for actually allowing the delivery of oxygen to our cells. And finally, I can't tell you how often I see people who are deficient in both vitamin D and what's known as omega-3 fatty acids. Now, vitamin D is because many of us live under cloud cover over the course of the year. We wear sunscreen, we wear clothes, and of course in the time of COVID, nobody's going to the beach. Omega-3 fats are a different category because these are typically found in fish and a number of different oils. But when I started measuring people's omega-3 index, I was astounded at how low some people were. And these fats are very, very important for the integrity of our cell walls, as well as for the way that our immune system works. And in terms of macromolecules, I can't do this video without mentioning the difference between saturated, mono, and polyunsaturated fats. Saturated fats and trans fats are the fats that are solid at room temperature. So we're talking candy bars and oils that are solid at room temperature. These are dangerous fats to incorporate into our diet. We do much better when we have a higher intake in monounsaturated fats like olive oil or polyunsaturated fats. These are just fats that are safer for our body and they work better with our physiology. The last thing that I recommend of all my patients is that they really give some consideration in terms of how much processed food they're eating. So if you're eating processed food, if you're eating foods that contains dyes, gums, pesticides, herbicides, colorants, stabilizers, these are all molecules that to some degree are foreign to our immune system. When something is foreign to our immune system, it evokes an inflammatory response. And inflammation is the one single cause of all fatigue across all different pathways. So instead of recommending a stock diet like the South Beach diet or the Prolog diet or something like that, I ask my patients to consider their diet upon these three different practices. The first practice is maintaining a diet which is higher in protein and fats, and oftentimes incorporating that into your diet over the course of the day. This will help to maintain your blood sugar. It will help to avoid dips and the release of cortisol. The next thing that I do is I ask you to work with a doctor, a nutritionist, or even yourself to think about what medicines you're taking, what dietary or behavioral choices you've made that might leave you deficient in an important vitamin or mineral. And finally, if you really want to get healthy, this is the time to put some emphasis into learning the benefits of whole food. So look in your pantry, look in your refrigerator. If you notice that you've got a lot of things that don't have expiration dates, that's probably not the best food to help with your fatigue. Move towards a diet which is wholesome, pure, non-GMO, and ideally organic. Once again, this is my recommendation to my patients. I hope you found this helpful. Of course, if you like these videos, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'll be sure to respond to all comments personally. Once again, I'm making these videos for you, and I will see you next week with another video. Take care.